Before we get to the movie, I want to address something that you've said on this show. The shoulder is the most convenient body part to be shot in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's true anymore. The most convenient part to be shot in is about right here. Somewhere in here.
So
where the bullet can pass through without hitting any organs and come out the other side. And it always comes out the other side, and somebody always looks and says, it came out clean.
How clean could it come out?
All you need to do is douse it with any kind of disinfectant, rubbing alcohol, vodka, whatever you have on hand. Wrap it in whatever is lying around, and you can go right back to being an action hero.
That's right.
Do anything that an uninjured person does, and every once in a while just go...
Yeah, if I recall correctly, in Rambo 2, John Rambo gets that shot, and he actually does something more severe.
He cauterizes it.
Yeah, he puts gunpowder in there and lights it on fire.
That's back when they made an effort in movies.
Yeah.
Your John Wicks today will just slap an old t-shirt on there and just go about his business. I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. I thought today in the basement we could delight ourselves with a little bit of fantasy.
Ooh.
If the recent departure of Game of Thrones has left you saying, "Where are my dragons?" this envelope has all the answers you'll need, because tonight we are watching Dragonheart.
Dragonheart. Ugh.
Released in 1996, Dragonheart stars Dennis Quaid, David Thewlis, Pete Postlethwaite, Dina Meyer, and the voice of Basement alum Sean Connery. The director is Rob Cohen. He did a bunch of Vin Diesel movies.
Okay.
The film was a modest box office success. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars out of 4, saying, quote, "While no reasonable person over the age of 12 would presumably be able to take it seriously, it nevertheless has a lighthearted joy, a cheerfulness, an insouciance that recalls the days when movies were content to be fun."
Insouciance?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that word means. I'm a pretty smart guy. And you know what? I don't even care.
Insouciance or insouciance, however you pronounce it. I think it's just kind of like, hey! I think that's it.
Band of Outsiders on your DVD box is described as that.
So that checks out.
Yeah, I put off watching that movie just because I'm like, I don't want to see a movie that's enswamped.
Dragonheart would go on to earn an Academy Award nomination for Best Visual Effects and win the Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking that I need to work on my Sean Connery impersonation before we get started. Because it's not that good.
I've decided that your gift today should be a fantasy classic. I'm sure you have a copy of this book, but you might not have one that's this cool.
Oh, wow. The Hobbit in hardcover form.
Look at that. That's got cool illustrations in it. It's got that map that we all love.
Mm-hmm.
Map of Middle-earth. Don your chainmail and strap your broadsword to your loins and join us on the battlefield that is the old leather couch, where we will take on Dragonheart. Rafaela de Laurentiis. She brings a woman's touch to crappy movies. Dragonheart, more like dragon fart.
Who this? Thulis.
It's the olden times, in England or someplace, and 2 men are sword practicing.
Swordplay!
But not good enough to live.
Bowen, the older man, is teaching the younger man, Einan, how to sword fight, because someday Einan will be king. There is unrest in the peasant village.
The peasants are revolting.
They've always been revolting, Prince.
It's a classic joke, but seriously, the peasants are in revolt.
Remember today and the difference between battle and butchery. And remember the old code.
That's the king there. He's burning down the village. Not doing anything here. Oh, did I do that? Did I do that?
Medieval Urkel. Sir Urkel. Einan, the future king, goes down to the battle and sees his father killed.
Oh, pulling in a Henry IV Part 2.
But wait, this precocious little redhead falls out of a thing and knocks him into a thing, and he gets stabbed in the heart. Killed by a buckethead.
Dead, madam. King Thrain, your husband, slain.
Could you please do that in a more grammatical sentence for me?
He was only king for 12 seconds, and now he's gonna die. Or is he? Julie Christie, the sexy Candace Bergen. His mother, Queen Aislinn, takes him into this spooky cave. In that cave is a dragon. And the dragon says, "Well, I can give part of my heart to the young boy."
Swear that your father's bloodlust and tyranny died with him. Swear that you will live and rule with mercy.
Swear like a sailor.
Now swear!
Fuckity suckity. I'm sorry, I'm a young boy. I don't know how to do it properly.
Half my heart to make you whole.
All my hopes rest on him. Forgive a doubting fool.
I think that Dennis Quaid's dialect coach was on vacation and not available. What do you know? The boy is okay. He begins his rule, but he's a bad king.
He rounds up all the peasants. Start digging bricks for me. I'm building a castle. Building a castle.
Getting that boomerang fish. Bowen thinks that the dragon did some sort of evil magic on the king to make him evil, I think, and he vows to become a dragon slayer. 12 years later, Brother Gilbert is bumbling along on his donkey. He's a poet.
And the old code of his way. And when I find those holy stones,
I will use them in my bidet.
oh, Avalon, bright Avalon, think me not
Too gay.
Bowen's been going all around the country killing all the dragons. Brother Gilbert decides to join up with Bowen and be his wacky sidekick and balladeer.
Einan's a grown-up king, and he's still a jerk.
In the quarry where the peasants toil,
Still quarrying after all these years.
the little red-haired girl's father has been imprisoned here all these years. He's blind, and she begs the king to let him go. And the king lets him go from life with an arrow to the heart. She vows revenge. Bowen has tracked down another dragon. They get in a fight. He ties a rope to the dragon's foot.
Have you been talking to Q?
The dragon flies away, and Bowen is dragged through the woods.
They have some witty patter together.
And again! How do you like the ride so far?
Snappy patter.
Yikes!
Yikes. Yikes, Craig. Yikes.
All right, I'll give it to you, Matt.
I will not stop until I've rid the world of every last one of you.
I am the last one.
Bowen gets stuck in the beast's mouth, and they're in a Mexican standoff with a sword, kind of. Bowen's there all day and into the night, and it's gross.
Can you get your buttocks off my tongue?
Why should you be comfortable?
Can you get your buttocks off my tongue is something you only hear in gentleman's porn.
That's the Chicago way.
The dragon finally spits him out. I don't want to kill you, and I know that you don't want to kill me because you don't want to lose your job as a dragon slayer.
Why don't we go in on this together?
We can go around to different villages, staging this dragon battle, and then you get paid by the village for it.
Classic con.
What do you say, business partner?
Bowen shoots a spear at the dragon.
It's a living.
I am a knight of the old code.
Alan Turing cracked the old code, and that's how we defeated the Nazis.
If I wanted my conscience pricked, I would have stayed with the priest.
Something else you'll hear in gentleman's porn. The daughter of the blind man tries to kill the king.
And she's thrown into the dungeon.
You could sing.
What? I wrote the word what? And then the killing. Meanwhile, back in the camp,
Dragon.
what, we skipped something here.
Get him with the knife.
I like you. You're gonna be my girlfriend. I will never love you.
Been thinking.
Yes? About what?
If I scratch you at a certain point on your belly, will you the one leg kick? Like that funny thing that dogs do? You see those stars up there? That's the dragon constellation, called Draco. Maybe I should call you that. Okay.
I would be honored to be named after those stars.
Because the ladies call me Little Dipper, and I don't really like that.
Queen Aislinn frees the red-headed girl. They're swindling another village.
It seems you people are in need of a dragon slayer.
Now you're a melon face. It's like a butterface, but vegan.
It's Draco!
If he says booyah, I'm turning this movie off. It'll be a first on this show. If he says booyah, someone comes up with the bright idea of sacrificing the red-haired girl, whose name is Kara, by the way, to the dragon.
Don't do this to me!
Don't do this to me!
You know my father!
Come on, do it!
I merely chewed in self-defense, but I never swallowed.
The screenwriter of this thing must have written gentleman's porn. And they become buddies, because the dragon's a little smitten by her beauty.
Well, how many dragons do you know?
I want these two to get freaky.
Kara and Bowen remember. They remember the battle together. They remember.
Once upon a time.
That line should have come at the beginning of the movie. Hey, Brother Gilbert returns from wherever he wandered off to.
Brother Gilbert!
What up, G? They're pulling a con job on another village. Draco's supposed to fall into the water and sink below, and that's it.
It doesn't work this time.
He just lays on the top there, and those villagers get some ideas. We're going to eat some dragon for our meal. And the dragon flies away. He says, nope, not in my contract. And the villagers look at Bowen and say, we're going to eat you. But they're rescued by the helpful dragon, who flies them off to Avalon.
The resting place of King Arthur himself.
Draco tells a story.
If a dragon's a good dragon, he gets to go up and join that constellation of Draco. Hey? Pretty good deal.
Kara, I will go with you.
Kara tabumdie.
Bowen talks to ghosts.
Hi, I'm Stony. Everyone's favorite pillar.
Well, hello, Stony.
Remember who you are and fight the good fight. Bye!
He needs to be a noble knight and go and help those villagers get out from under the yoke of oppression. And Kara and Brother Gilbert and Draco are gonna help. The peasants are training for battle, and we find out that Brother Gilbert is kind of a crack shot with a bow and arrow.
He was shot in his wooden penis.
Down, up, down.
Oh, she's making gyros. Tasty. Einan knows the connection with the... Okay. Einan sees the army of peasants, and he knows that they're going to have a dragon with them. And Queen Aislinn knows it as well, and she hires 5 dragon slayers.
Have you thought beyond tomorrow?
It's hard to see that far.
It's Thursday, isn't it? Beyond today's Tuesday? The castle is sieged. They may take our lives, but they'll never take our... line? There's a big fight out in the woods. Come on, Gilbert, shoot him in the junk. Brother Gilbert sees King Einan. He shoots him right in the heart. But Einan just pulls the arrow right out. He can't be killed. Draco the dragon goes down. Because they've got like a Corsican brothers type of relationship where one of them gets hit, the other feels the pain. Only it's only a one-sided thing. Dragon is captured. I'm not going to kill this dragon, because if he dies, I die. And wait a minute, Mom, what are you doing in this dragon cell with that giant spear? I know why you hired those dragon slayers. You wanted the dragon to die, so I would die. And now you're going to die, Mom. She dies off camera. Bowen and some of his choice warriors sneak into the castle. They come across Einan lounging in his bedroom, and they have a duel. Bonk. He got him. He bopped him. Bopped him in the head with a rock.
A tisket, a tasket.
Draco says, you gotta kill me. That's the only way you're gonna kill the king.
Now it's you, Bowen. It's you that has to do it.
You're the man now, dog.
Stabs the dragon right in the heart.
Einan dies in agony.
And the dragon dies.
And the dragon dissolves into a golden cloud.
And he's turned into luminescent farts.
Dragon fart. I said it at the beginning. Tona's crying.
Oh, you're crying?
I didn't even watch this movie and now it's making me cry.
And he goes, whoop, right up into the sky.
I'm gonna go and, mess up Perseus.
This kind of thing doesn't happen.
Happens all the time, Matt. You just spend too much time in your house. You need to go out and look at the stars.
That's dumb.
Goes to Dragon Heaven. It never gets old. Every single time I see a mythical being turn into a star. I saw a manticore once get hit by a car, turned into a star. A griffin once involved in some sort of car.
Hit by a car.
Again, hit by a car.
Dragonheart. It's not a good title. I'll say that right off the bat. It makes it seem like a fantasy romance.
True, but
I think
it fits the movie. It fits the movie, so I'm not going to say that's a bad title. It's not my problem with the movie.
What's your problem with the movie?
It just seemed like it was all just so energyless. They don't go all the way. They don't know how to get the tone right. The best example of the movie sucking is when Bowen and Draco meet for the first time and they have that battle and they have repartee.
That scene is the movie really attempting to charm the audience. Mm-hmm. And it has the opposite effect.
Doesn't, yeah.
Part of the problem could have to do with the lead actor. The story writer of this, Patrick Reed Johnson, had this to say of Dennis Quaid. I love Dennis Quaid, and you know that that's leading to some harsh criticism. I just didn't think he should be in 10th century England, any more than Kevin Costner should be in Sherwood Forest.
It isn't as egregious as Kevin Costner.
But it's almost. Johnson, who wrote the story, I think he might have had a hand in the screenplay. He was the original director, and he was replaced, and he was not happy about it. He wanted Liam Neeson to play the lead role.
That would have been interesting. That would have had the intensity.
The studio didn't want Neeson because they believed he couldn't be a convincing action hero.
The bit with the mouth was good. The stalemate when he's in the dragon's mouth. It's just a funny situation to be in. That's about it.
But it doesn't make sense when you're in the mouth of something that can breathe fire that it would be any sort of stalemate. Why can't he burn him? Burn him!
They didn't say anything along the lines of, I need to close my mouth to really get the fires going.
Well, actually, I read this too, and I noticed it in the movie. He never breathes fire out of his mouth. He breathes it out of his nose.
Oh.
So that could be the loophole.
They should have just had fire, like, shooting up.
Oh, you can't burn me, can you?
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have had to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
The movie should have given that to us.
What are the rules of a world with dragons?
A movie has a responsibility to give you the information that you need, and then withhold information that you need to figure out for yourself.
Yeah.
I felt that Sean Connery was really phoning it in on this.
He might have been. You can do that with...
He might have been literally on the phone.
I'm up in
What
my
page
estate.
are we on? It seemed like he was really thinking, well, I've got this voice, and that's all that's really needed here.
Yeah. I do have to commend the casting director for one thing, and that's finding someone to play Prince Einon who does look like a pubescent David Thewlis. That's a tricky thing to do. They look exactly the same, but aged.
I'm actually a little embarrassed that I did not announce Julie Christie at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know she was in this. For some reason, I never came across her name when I was looking at the cast for this movie.
When you handed me the box, the first thing I saw was that Julie Christie was in it.
Oh, well, you should have spoken up then. It's your fault.
No, it's your fault. And it isn't mine at all. Sometime.
There are several battle tropes that I'm sick of in movies. Two people are fighting, their backs are to each other, they bump in, and they turn around and they almost get in one, and then they realize it's their friend, and they just nod, and they go on.
Turn their backs to each other again.
Yeah, I'm sick of someone up against ramparts, and they're being almost pushed over by the sword. Come up with some new battle stuff. What was good about the movie? David Thewlis and Julie Christie's performances were good.
I like the idea of pulling the con job on various places.
That's a nice conceit.
That's what Tuco and Blondie were doing in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, too. So it's not like they made up this idea. They just put a dragon into Eli Wallach's part.
The good, the bad, and the scaly.
Yes.
Dragonheart.
Yeah. Oh, Dragonheart.
Dragonheart has now flown off into the stars, and it is time for us to flap on over to Seen It.
Seen It.
Our theme for Seen It is P.O. Box. These are DVDs that were sent to us by our viewers, and we watched them.
Streets of Fire. Seen It.
I can dream about it, and I've seen it.
This is a movie that I caught in bits and pieces on cable throughout my childhood.
Me too.
And finally I sat down to watch it after we got this nice fancy metal case here. And I loved every single inch of this movie. It's nothing but all the coolest stuff in the world stacked on top of each other. All the things that he romanticized as a kid. Now, it's because of all those things is why it was a horrible failure, probably, and why if I would have seen it a day before or a day after, I would have thought that this is the worst movie ever made.
It's a weird movie because it's definitely, a lot of it is kind of a throwback to the 50s. Mm-hmm. It's firmly in the 80s when it was created, but it also takes place in a vague future.
I know.
It's like these three eras all at once. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch this movie when I was growing up, but I sure as hell heard that song. It was all over the radio, I Can Dream About You. And there are certain songs that really evoke the 80s, and for me, that is one of them. That song smells like the 80s.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Be Kind, Rewind. Seen it.
Seen it.
This came out right when my internet career was taking off. Mm-hmm. Aaron and I had just quit our jobs. And we heard about this movie and what it was about, and we decided that watching it would be research. So we went, in the middle of a workday, we went and saw a matinee of Be Kind, Rewind. Any film by Michel Gondry, you should watch just sight unseen.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most brilliant and energetic filmmakers working today. I assume he's still working.
Yeah.
It's got some really neat stuff in it. The story has a sweetness to it, but it's kind of dumb.
The plot is a vehicle so that Michel Gondry can refilm all of his favorite childhood movies.
Using paper mache and
using
things
a
like that.
$0 budget, yeah.
Right.
That's the reason you watch the movie. Jack Black's a little bit overbearing in it. Mos Def is a little bit too underbearing.
I sort of like Mos Def as an actor for that reason. He's very subtle. Probably the most subtle of the rappers turned actors. All due respect to Ice-T.
Fido. Seen it.
It's really tough to do low-budget period pieces. Mm-hmm. And this movie, they've got all the cars and all the clothes and all the sets and everything right, but there's still a cheapness and a phoniness to it. And I think it has to do with budget. A lot of you might not have heard of this film. It is an alternate history film where instead of World War II, it was a zombie war. And so the 50s now has this society where these zombies are sort of chained up and made to do chores. It's a really interesting premise.
Yes, but there's a lot of good world building going on there.
Yes, but the movie falls prey to just kind of lazily leaning on 50s tropes. Mm-hmm. I mean, the boy's name is Bobby or Timmy.
It's Timmy, because it's also a spoof of Lassie movies.
Yeah. Well, that's not the only instance of it. And, things like that, you might think that's a minor infraction, but stuff like that points to lazy writing and lazy thinking.
If you want to set something in the 50s, just hire Dylan Baker and he does have to work for you.
And finally, we have Remains of the Day. Seen it.
Seen it in the theaters.
Boy, when it was the 90s, the words merchant, ivory were synonymous with brilliant and dull. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I watched this. This was back in the days when you had to go out to a video store, select a movie, and bring it home. Mm-hmm. And we picked this one. Parts of it were very moving. In particular, when she discovers his novel that he's been reading. It's like, oh, you're just a romantic at heart. And he says, I just read to exercise my mind. And he can't show his feelings. And he can't tell this woman that he's in love with her.
Yes.
Well, Draco the Dragon may be dead, but you're not, so go to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. There are all of our episodes that we've ever made, and there are PayPal donation buttons. You can click on one of them and donate a paltry sum to support this show, if you like it.
Really?
One of our donors is Catherine, who says, this is a note in honor of the tiger that sank the boat in Roar. That may be one of our favorite scenes yet. Catherine, you ain't kidding. I love that tiger. I believe I expressed my love for that tiger in the Roar episode.
Oh, the Roar episode.
To find out who the rest of our donors are and to see the exciting contents of our mail crate, we got a big box this week. You can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday.
Don't let my picking up this box be in vain.
Thank you for joining us in adventure today, and now you should watch this. What happened to Pete Postlethwaite? Did he die?
Yeah.
Oh. He didn't really, did he?
Yeah.
When?
5 or so years ago.
No, I'm talking about the character in the movie.
Oh!
Yikes!